My bitch, she hit like a pit of red nose, red heart.
Total power equals total corruption. And the motherfuckers that have all the power are the ones that do the corrupting. They make the laws, they break the laws, and then what they do is hold other motherfuckers accountable for the laws that they're breaking. But in other words, it's that don't do as I do as I say do. So they're showing their power.
Publishings and royalties. Now peep the line to the double helix and the logo. And on top of the press ons, the bald egos. Like a mix between the Machiavelli and the Migos. Like Steph Curry, I'm missing no threes or no free throws. It ain't easy being Chester Cheaties like them Cheetos. Yeah. And a nigga be all about them Fritos. The world's a ghetto and the authority's the devil. He speak with a fork tongue and ain't never on the level. This winter's been cold, the coldest ever. It's full of black rain, black pain, and more pressure. My little nigga, he got blammy now. Cocked him from Big Brother, gave that little nigga my hand-me-down. Big stick is extended from that 40 cal. Wow. Hey, my little nigga got a rep that demand respect. His killer be killed with a pack to protect and the trap to collect.
Come on, you jive turkeys. What kind of rundown is this?
I told them all to bear witness to the technicians. Our label Blood Raw Dizzle Vision Special.
Because see, like I say, every time I hear about this shit, it fucks me up in the inside. And I get all welled up to the point that I get mad all over.
You know, there's no arrest.
No arrest. And not only Bob Sampion, the mayor, but as we spoke on a previous podcast, the chief of police, the city attorney, the city manager, the command staff were all aware of the badge bending. So talking about the badge bending in Vallejo now, just a few days ago, Chief Shawnee Williams has now announced that he is asking for a third-party independent investigator to come in and investigate the badge-bending incidents. Chief Williams stated to the press that he was told by 2 employees of the police department that the badge-bending did occur.
Welcome to the Secrets of the Rabbit Hole Multimedia Network. This is the Secrets to the Rabbit Hole podcast, hosted by myself, David D. Harrison, along with my cousin Kori McCoy.
Together, we speak the unspoken on police misconduct and provide a platform for impacted families to share their truths. How deep does the rabbit hole go?
Let's talk about it. Going on in Vallejo, can you tell us what the latest topic is, cuz?
A few days ago, Open Vallejo, who does outstanding research and reporting specifically on things going on in Vallejo, has reported that the Vallejo Police, after an 8-month investigation, the Vallejo Police Department is being accused of bending their badges, the corners of their badges, to mark fatal shootings.
That's big news going on in Vallejo because I believe that we talked about this, cousin, a year and a half ago. I said it, I called it.
Absolutely. Not only were we adamant that it was an execution what happened to our loved one. And for those of you who don't know who we are, my name is Kori McCoy once again.
And David D. Harrison, Willie McCoy's cousin.
Who is about to be mentioned as we move to this next paragraph of this article. Our loved one, a senior law enforcement and government officials say everything changed in the city of Vallejo when a police captain following the fatal shooting of 20-year-old Willie McCoy, February 9th of 2019, a day we will never forget, cousin. The tradition became known in the highest levels of the city government as well as the district attorney's office.
Wow. It sounds like a classic
it sounds like classic RICO statutes. They're a gang. Let's talk about that.
RICO statutes, criminal enterprise. The captain's name, John Whitney, who decided to whistleblow on what was going on. So after my younger brother, your baby cousin, Willie McCoy Jr., was executed, and we called it an execution from the day it happened. There was video to see it. 6 cops, 55 shots, 3.5 seconds, laying asleep in his car in the drive-thru of a Taco Bell. We called it from day one. You personally called it a blood oath ritual.
I felt like that there were a few cops that were on that line, a part of the 6 officers, who did not have a kill and they needed to bust their cherry. So as an initiation for the gang, Willie's life was taken. And the biggest part is what Ronell Foster was killed a year prior in February, Black History Month, which would constitute, I guess, some type of a promotion where they're getting promotions with this badge bending.
Well, I think to what you are saying, cousin, it seems to be not only a tradition in the history of Vallejo, we're going to get to that in a moment, as far as the family trees that have developed from this badge bending scenario. But we look right here, we're talking about Captain John Whitney. This man's resume is pretty strong. He's a 20-year veteran of the department. He was the former SWAT team commander, and he has 2 master's degrees. So after raising concerns about the badge bending tradition and the misconduct,
He's a good guy.
he went to the, at the time, chief of police, Chief Budo, Andrew Budo, and what he found was Mr. Budo told him to go ahead and talk to the other captains and have them do a badge inspection basically, and collect badges that were actually bent tips. And what did they find there, cuz?
They found like 10 badges in a box within an hour,
Exactly.
according to the article that I read. There were 10 badges in a box within an hour, and there was no way to fix these badges without bringing some type of attention to that process, which is linking them all to this corrupt, murderous gang, Fatal 14.
We've got 10 of those badges within the first hour were placed in a small cardboard box in the office by Andrew Budo's executive assistant.
Chief Victo and his assistant.
So Captain Whitney is quoted as saying that Chief Budo told him that the cost of repairing so many badges could raise suspicions within the city's finance department and cost him to lose the interim position. People need to understand that Chief Budo was a retired chief that was double dipping. So he was being the interim chief basically for himself as he was retired, doubling up on his pension.
That's criminal in itself. I think that in the days to come, we are going to find more corruption in the Vallejo Police Department, and outside of the police, we're going to find more corruption on the city council. Because in the article, cousin, I know we all have to be familiar with the mayor,
Bob
Sampion. Bob the Weasel.
You like to call him?
He's Bob the Weasel. He showed that he knew what was going on with this badge bending situation. He spoke on it and said, and also threw a line to Lieutenant Nicolini saying that he's seen a lot of badge bending in Nicolini's tenure.
Let's educate the people on the history of the Nicolinis. 2005, the senior Nicolini is the chief of police in Vallejo, and he hires his son, Michael Nicolini, who was an Oakland police officer with a very, very questionable history of police misconduct.
These are vicious people.
So we already have a case of nepotism where a father hires his son into a police department where a bunch of police officers, there is a track record of police officers after the scandal of the rioters in Oakland, California, and Oakland police were put on federal monitor. There was a wave of Oakland officers that left Oakland, were being pushed out, and they found themselves in Vallejo.
Well, my question is, I believe that, well, actually it's a statement. I believe that Nicolini's father was pushed out during the rioters investigation in Oakland, California, when the feds came in and they did federal oversight and they took over the police department.
And he became
chief in Vallejo.
And now his son, what we're getting to, people, we're trying to connect these dots for you. So currently today, Lieutenant Michael Nicolini, the son, who is currently also the president of the Vallejo Police Officers Association, their union, has just returned from being suspended. And what was he suspended for, cousin?
He was suspended for evidence destruction of evidence.
So June 2nd, Sean Monterosa was fatally shot and killed by Officer Jarrett Ton. That was Jarrett Ton's fourth person that he had shot.
Wow.
During his time. He is a member of the Fatal 14.
He needs a new badge.
And you will be hearing more about the Fatal 14 as we move and continue to talk about the things going on in Vallejo Police Department. So Officer Jarrett Ton murders Sean Monterosa with an AR-15 that he shot from an unmarked car, the back seat of an unmarked car. But
through the windshield.
Through the front windshield. And Lieutenant Nicolini, who is over the vehicle division for signing out cars, signing in cars. So nothing gets done with a car without his say-so.
Well, from the reports that I've seen, he destroyed the windshield. That was a vital piece of evidence in the Sean Monterosa case. Knowing that, in the height of this badge bending situation, knowing that he's a Fatal 14, it tends to make him look really guilty of trying to hide or cover up something.
Well, and you know what's funny, cousin? Nicolini has an absolutely questionable policing history. It is as bad as members of the Fatal 14, but he actually is not a member of the Fatal 14. He is just another problematic police officer that runs rogue in the city of Vallejo.
Be a great candidate for the Fatal 14. I think that they're trying to recruit him as we speak.
Well, there is of Lieutenant Nicolini actually yanking a young man, Carlos Yescos, out of his vehicle and just about broke the kid's arm in front of his younger sibling. Nicolini is a real piece of work. What I wanted to touch on really quick, if you don't mind, cousin, let's get into who knew about the badge bending in the city government of Vallejo and beyond.
Let's talk about it.
So we have multiple people that were interviewed by Open Vallejo. Many did not want to be identified.
A lot of people didn't want to talk.
But there were others that did acknowledge that this did occur, the badge bending. So let's run down the list. Clearly, we know every member of their command staff was aware of what was going on. We know that Chief Boudreaux was aware of what was going on. We know that Mayor Sampayan was aware of what was going on.
Right there. Sampayan is the top of the pyramid.
Well, hold on.
It's all corrupt. Okay.
And we know City Manager Greg Nyoff was aware of the badge bending incidents. We know that City Attorney Claudia Quintana was aware of this. We also know now that Solano County District Attorney Krishna Abrams was also aware of the badge bending. Present to you, cousin, and then I just want you to kind of take this ball and run with it. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. In the months following the murder of our loved one, Willie McCoy, Chief Andrew Boudreaux, who we just named, Claudia Quintana, the city attorney, who we just named, and the internal affairs lieutenant, who I don't have his name right now, the fat man that was at the city council meetings harassing families. He was part of the command staff. Those three individuals, since Willie's death, have all retired.
They're retired. And that's a real funny thing, because now you have Krishna Abrams from the Solano District Attorney's Office recusing herself in the cases of Sean Monterosa and in the cases of Willie McCoy. That's a problem. That shows that they're running for the hills right now. This is criminal. We know it. the world should know it.
Absolutely appears to be nothing short of a criminal enterprise, cuz we are not shocked. We, I think, are more shocked that people are not out in the streets going crazy and flipping cars over this.
I agree with you, cuz it's so many things that have come out within this that says that, you know, we, and these cops, you got to understand, these police officers that are part of the Fatal 14 involved in these murders, they're at work right now.
A lot of research went into this. They talked to more than 20 or current former government officials, as well as public employment data, post-shooting investigative findings, court and other public records, archived news documents, and a bunch of anonymous police officers, former and as well as current VPD officers.
We have people. There are cops that are fed up with this run amok criminality inside of the police department. They're fed up with the murders. It's some. I believe that it's some good people that got that badge on that just don't know what to do.
Saying that this is an actual fact of the 51 current and former Vallejo police officers who have been involved in fatal shootings since the year 2000, at least 14 had their badges bent by a colleague afterwards. Sources familiar with the tradition confirm this. One source told Open Vallejo the number could be much higher, cousin.
It still goes back to the mayor, to Sam Payan. If he knew, if Sam Payan, and like he said, and he puts it on Lieutenant Nicolini that he's seen bent badges during his tenure.
So we're talking about
not arrest anyone. Why do you not say anything? And you're the mayor.
Well, could it be that, yes, he is the mayor, but he's also a former, almost 30-year veteran of the Vallejo Police Department?
That's right. That is true. They stick together. That's that blue line.
What we do know is that at least 7 of the officers' badges have multiple bends. According to officers who have seen them and photos obtained by Open Vallejo. So we know that they've got officers on the payroll that have killed multiple times.
Yeah, and they're still on the street is the problem. Look, it took 2 months to arrest someone in the Ahmaud Arbery case. Mm-hmm. It took about that long to arrest somebody in George Floyd's case. But it's been years, over 5 and 3 and 2 years at a time, that family members, because there is a group of family members, the Sons of Vallejo, who have lost their lives to the Fatal 14.
Absolutely. As it pertains to the badge bending, I know earlier we spoke on the former chief of police, Robert Nicolini, and I believe we said 2005. So let's take you back a bit. It actually was 2003 when Chief Robert Nicolini replaced the department's brass badges with plain sterling silver 7-point stars like those worn by the Oakland police, his former agency.
My point is, like, why would you ask for badges and then give them back? Because it would there he's saying it's gonna bring attention to this badge bending situation.
Well, something that I think we shouldn't let slip through, cousin, is that they actually brought the softer badges in because the metal was easier to bend. So this was not something that was just by happenstance.
Well, do you think that they was buying the softer bendable badges so that they can bend them back when they get in trouble?
You know, cousin, that is I
mean, we're dealing with crooked cops here. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, me and my cousin, we're flabbergasted because we stick with the facts. We said this thing a long time ago. Now there is proof because the mayor is exposing things, and why it's hard for us to believe that no one is arrested in handcuffs at this time. Who's gonna make this thing fair?
It's unbelievable.
Who's gonna make this thing fair?
Current and former employees describe a department where bullies thrive, whistleblowers are dealt with harshly, and the pressure to shoot and kill civilians is strong.
And this is thick. It sounds like gang warfare, and this is exactly what it is. I think that the biggest criminals in Vallejo are the police and the city council.
And you know, you're a member of the city council, or you are one of those city government officials that we named earlier, and you're aware of the badge bending, you must as well be aware that the cops who shot someone, not only do they bend the tabs of the badges, they kind of look at it as a notch on the bedpost, and it's an indicator to each other how many hoodlums they've shot, and they think it's funny.
Well, that's a horrible thing to say, man. I mean, to think about when you're dealing with lives of people in your community, and you know that the people who are sworn to serve and protect you are out to murder you just to get some position in some gang, like it's adolescent.
Yes.
And these are people who are committing criminal acts under the color of state law.
For those, fatal shooting, their own or a colleague's, is often followed by a barbecue or other celebration, according to current and former police employees. The actual bending of badges occurs there or at roll call, an official law enforcement briefing that takes place at the beginning or the end of a shift. Photographs indicate the first bend is often applied at the 4 o'clock point of the initiate's badge.
Mixed with rogue cops. I mean, it's built for a Hollywood motion picture. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Secrets of the Rabbit Hole podcast here on the Secrets of the Rabbit Hole podcast multimedia network. We'll be returning shortly with a show that is dealing with the new DA that's being sent in to handle Willie McCoy case. And we'll be talking about, how do you feel about him, cuz?
Let's talk about it.
We'll be back. This is the Secrets of the Rabbit Hole multimedia network. And this is the Secrets of the Rabbit Hole podcast.
I'm William Harrison of the new show Pops and Son. And I want to give a shout out to the Secrets of the Rabbit Hole Media Network. You can find them on Secrets of the Rabbit Hole Media Network YouTube channel. And hey, you'll be seeing me and my son later on down the road. That is, if I don't run over him with this Mack truck. It's all good.
And I lost my father. We buried my father last Saturday. He was 75 years old. He died in this fight. We were fighting for justice and liberation for the people, and justice for Willie and all of the Vallejo fallen sons. And he was adamant about that. And he really he was really into it, where he was emotional about it, you know, because he was hoping to be here the day that all our people came together and stood as one against them brutalizing not one of us. See, every time they touch one of us, we all supposed to go to that one's aid. But when we stop going to one's aid because we feel some type of way about an issue we had with them, and we don't forget the purpose of us coming to his aid, we lose. We lose our rights. Sometimes we can be like Willie and Ronell and Angel, we can lose our life. So I want us all to understand that the answer is to advocate for our people to unify and organize as one person. Bloods and Crips, GDs and Vice Lords. Put down the red and the blue. Black is the only color. Thank you for participating in the Secrets of the Rabbit Hole Media Network. This has been a Secrets of the Rabbit Hole podcast. If you would like to donate, you can donate at the WillieMcCoyFoundation.com. Yes. And if you would like to send an email, you can do that at truth@thesecretsoftherabbithole.com. Or you can check our website at secretsoftherabbithole.com. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, till the wheels fall off. It's Willie World or it's no world. Judge.
Hey, my little nigga got a rep that demand respect. His killer be killed with a pack to protect in the traffic.
Listen, everybody, I need y'all to come together. They killing us out there in Vallejo. The Fatal 14 and them badge bending some bitches out there. You know what I'm talking about? So, Cutthroat, Uncle Cutthroat is right here to tell you all it's time to unify and organize under one nation, under God, and to the republic for which he stand. Understand? So I suggest that you watch your step, because they out there doing rituals. They doing rituals. You know what I'm talking about. That Illuminati shit that Tupac was talking about before they killed him and sent him to Cuba and shit like that. So wake up, Vallejo. Time is to lock these motherfucking some bitches up that's wearing these badges that's out here killing these children. Now, Uncle Cutthroat is saying, defund the motherfucking police, quit fucking with people, pulling them over for no motherfucking reason and shit like that. You understand? We're gonna start fighting back. We've been a nice people, and we ain't been getting crazy lately. But everything got a time, and you keep fucking with us, it's gonna get ugly for you. Now that's Uncle Cutthroat, and I'm down.
My bitch, she hit like a pit of red nose, red bone. Purse hella heavy with that two-tone, pearl and chrome. The red bottoms with them French tips on them 10 toes. With the power to open and close.